Hello and welcome to Art Out of Nature, Harrison's Cave, Barbados. I'm Sherwood McCaskey. As always, I'm pleased that you have chosen to spend the next 30 minutes with my guest. In last week's program, we brought together a number of the essential operations of the cave and neatly weaved them and presented to you a day's operation. In so doing, we demonstrated how each function here is inextricably linked to the other one, and the failure to perform one could adversely affect the smooth operations. We salute the work of the individuals of the maintenance and the security department. We presented to you what could be regarded as the byproduct of all of these operations coming together: art out of nature, segments of a tour conducted by senior tour guide Hyacinth Thompson. In this week's program, we shall introduce you to a lady on whose shoulders rest the responsibilities for the daily general management of Harrison's Cave. Andrea Franklin, however, is preceded by the comments of a number of individuals who took the time to record their thoughts about Harrison's Cave in the visitor's book found here as you enter the building on the cliff top. On the 19th of July, Marigold from London wrote, "Best ever, amazing." Danielle Johnson from New York wrote, "Excellent tour, fantastic." Lisa, who's also from New York, wrote, "Great educational tour. Thanks to Peter and Richard for an excellent tour." These are just some of the comments written in the book by visitors who have experienced art out of nature. Over time, we have been fortunate to capture the oral testimonies of individuals who were moved by what we might term the profound and captivating moments that led to emotional experiences in the cave. In June 2017, a number of visitors from India boarded a tram and were taken on a guided tour to experience this art out of nature.
It was amazing. It was, now today is a very special day for me, being my birthday. And it's going to be always, I would remember this as one occasion, which is a lifetime experience. So it was really worth visiting the caves. And things like this, when you see, you wonder what would have been 60 million, 1,000 years ago. And it still exists like this, and how it has been preserved is beautiful. Coming to Barbados means a must to visit Harrison's Cave.
As a biology teacher, I must say I'm blessed that I could see such a place. I wish I could get my students across here. I'm thankful that I've got to visit such an experience. I've read about it, I've seen it on National Geographic, but to be actually part of such a great learning experience. And I'm always confused which are the stalagmites and stalactites, but the guide explained so well. The stalactite is C for ceiling and G for ground, and that's how, it's so simple, but it's a unique experience. It's fantastic. It's one in a lifetime. And I was just telling them this is the highlight of the trip to Barbados. I love it. We've come here on official work, but visiting this unique place has made it one of the most memorable moments in my life.
I have seen beautiful caves, in Luray Caverns in Washington. We have beautiful caves in India also. What I was most delighted to see was that the island of Barbados has actually taken the trouble and has created a very attractive tourist spot, because this is a country which depends a lot on tourism. And I think that taking us through this cave takes us to the history of the formation of this island, and I think we learnt a lot, that it was not a volcanic island and how it was formed. So I really think this was a wonderful thing.
I just want to say it was a spiritual experience. It was so beautiful, incredibly. It made you reflect and see the earlier pioneers, how they actually braved everything and created this wondrous space for all of us. They told us the guide was just incredible. And she told us it was the eighth wonder of the world. It was I'm just overwhelmed because I feel it was so wonderful and it's a must-see for everyone. Thank you very much. And it's a beautiful place, beautiful people. Thank you.
So first visit to Barbados, and hopefully it's not going to be the last. It's beautiful. Your island is beautiful. People are so great. We will be recommending our students to come here for medical college, and this is a beautiful site. Absolutely. And like she said, makes you feel so humble that you're a human being here. I'm coming from Delhi, and absolutely overwhelmed. And thank you for all the warm hospitality we're getting here.
I'm from New Delhi, India, and a visit down there for me was like a trip to the moon. Something that I could have never imagined and feel very, very lucky to have been able to do. And it just gave me a feeling and reminded me that we are the speck of dust in the scheme of things, and we should never forget that.
Over the years, the cave has benefited from the expertise of a number of individuals who assumed its pinnacle position, provided guidance, and knitted each department as they sought to reach the overall objectives of the caves at particular points in time of its existence. In the 10th month of its 35th year, Andrea Franklin assumed the role of Chief Executive Officer.
We just celebrated 35 years last November, so it's at a critical junction now where we are now looking to take the organization forward, take the attraction forward, and cement it as the premier attraction here in Barbados. I think for the last few years, it's been falling off a little bit. Obviously, we would have closed for the redevelopment project, and a lot of people are not even aware of what we have now as a result of the project. Persons come here like, wow, I haven't been here in years. We haven't seen all this facility, and they're surprised at what we have. So I think we're now at a stage where we need to re-emerge as a brand in the tourism industry here in Barbados. So going forward, we are looking to implement a number of new strategies to build the brand, build awareness, to create more traffic, of course, and obviously more revenue for the company.
Ever since its opening November the 30th, 1981, Harrison's Cave has been the #1 attraction on the island, so there is, in a sense, a distinct advantage. Whenever you have such a captive audience for any length of time, it is expected that the venue will provide facilities for the purchasing of food items, meals, breakfast, lunch, and more as the need arises. Two of the recurring questions posed by visitors are, where is the cafeteria? Where could we go to purchase something to eat while we wait?
So one of the things that we are looking at, first of all, is the introduction of a food and beverage element here at Harrison's Caves. We are in the final stages of having a new restaurant concessionaire come on board who would run the Flowstone restaurant upstairs, but also reopen the bar downstairs. And I think that this is a critical addition to the product that we have, because right now we don't have any food and beverage offering on property. So when people come, we have a few snacks in the gift shop, but that's as much as we can offer. So when we introduce now the food and beverage element, we are able to not only have the dining option here, we're able to build out packages. We can sell tour and dine packages, brunch, breakfast. We're also able to now reach out to some of our other partners in the industry, some of the tours that are the island tours, and invite them to Harrison's Cave as a stop in the tour, not only to view the cave, but also at the lunch stop in the cave. So we are looking forward to adding that element.
It is quite an inviting space here. One could easily see how visitors would be naturally lured or gravitate in this direction when food items are artfully displayed. A well-functioning restaurant on the compound would facilitate other activities such as the community cultural events spoken about by architect Steve Devonish in previous programs.
Building out events here at Harrison's Cave. I think the potential for events at Harrison's Cave is great. We have a wonderful product, a wonderful facility, and it's not only upstairs, but when you go downstairs to the valley floor, you have that space that can be turned into anything, basically. And once we have that element now that we can add, we can offer an all-inclusive package. And that's something that we want to also promote a lot more, events here at Harrison's Cave. For weddings, of course, we get the request for weddings, but I think we can do a lot more. But we can also do other events, family events, birthday parties. We can do small concerts or readings, jazz events. So that's what we are trying to build ourselves towards, to be able to cater to those types of events going forward.
Now, not so long ago, if you wanted to find out what attractions were available to visit, you perhaps consulted your local newspaper or you visited your telephone directory. You find a number and then you call that number to find out the opening hours of the venue. In today's world, ever since the advent of that dynamic, hypertext, cross-platform medium that stretches across the World Wide Web, individuals have been able to log on to the web via their mobiles and find out not only the opening hours of attractions, but read updated information about the site. We cannot overemphasize the importance of not only a web presence, but one where the information is constantly updated.
In terms of our marketing, we redesigned our website. We were a little archaic in terms of the website that we had. So we are now, some tweaks are still being done to it, but we have a new look website that we can now begin to promote actively and then build it into our digital marketing activities. So I think that's something that's going to help push us forward a lot more, because obviously a lot more people are online, people are on their mobiles, and we needed to have the website to be able to connect to our public. So I think that's one of the things that we are looking to promote a lot more in terms of our marketing initiatives, and of course then building on our social media aspects and tying it all in. So we are looking forward to that.
Now, in the redevelopment, project manager Steve Devonish and his team were very careful to ensure that the beauty of Harrison's Cave extended outside of the caverns. They took a holistic approach and developed the surrounding areas with plants, foliage, and the accompanying landscape. It is now a place of relaxation where you can, in a sense, recreate yourself as you sit, lounge around, and take leisurely strolls among the flora and enjoy the ambience here. It is the standard with all attractions. If you provide the other facilities for visitors, they have a tendency to linger on the property, and when they do that, they tend to spend more.
We would like to see downstairs develop a little more. I think there's a lot of potential. Reopening the scenic walk is not currently being promoted as much. We need to do some cleanup down there, as well as the gullies. But that's a little more long term. I mean, we do have short, medium, and long term goals that we are looking at in terms of the redevelopment. But also getting downstairs a little more family friendly. Some persons have been saying, when the kids are around, they want to stay a little longer, but what is there to do? So I think once we have the bar downstairs, and then we can build in some little activities for kids downstairs, we may be able to encourage persons to stay here a little longer. And obviously, if they stay longer, they may be able to spend a little more, which our tenants would also be a lot happier, the kiosk owners and stuff downstairs. So we want people to be able to come to Harrison's Cave, not just to come through the cave and leave, but to be able to spend a lot more time here, interact with our tenants, our staff. So that's what we are trying to build towards.
An increasing number of cruise ships are now docking in Barbados. These are bringing with them thousands of visitors on whose itinerary is Harrison's Cave. What about any plans to increase the cave's visibility at the port of Bridgetown? And what about the relationship with taxi operators and those involved in the industry?
We are looking at actively promoting more to the cruise ships directly. We will be attending, we do have on the plans for the FCCA conference, which is October. So we will be going off to that. And then we also will probably be looking at World Travel Market, which is more the land-based side. The FCCA is for the cruise, and then the World Travel Market for the land-based tours. So those are two of the big trade shows that we're looking at for the rest of this calendar year. But also in terms of our trying to reach out more to build a relationship with the cruise ships directly. We do have great relationships with some of the rep companies here. Foston is being the major one, and we do enjoy a good relationship with them. But we also need to be able to have direct relationships with the cruise line and get into the psyche of the shore excursion persons and making sure that they are actively promoting Harson's Cave and what we have to offer as well. And in terms of our presence then at the Bridgetown Cruise Terminal, that's something that in terms of our visibility, so once persons come off the cruise ship, they see Harson's Cave in their face and they're reminded, okay, this is something that we can do there. The relationship with the taxi drivers is something that we also are looking at to see how we can work with them a lot closer. Right now they do support us well. They are bringing persons here, but I think there's also a potential for more persons to come. So we are seeing how we can improve the relationship there as well in terms of getting more cruise ship passengers here. Because obviously when a cruise ship passenger comes on island, they're limited in terms of the time that they have, and they need to be able to guarantee that they can get to a tour or more than one spot and then get back to the cruise ship on time. We need to be mindful of that, and we are working closely with the various partners to see how we can better facilitate the flow through so that more persons can come and enjoy the attraction here.
Studies have shown that children are very much underrepresented in attractions all around the world, particularly in terms of their own perspective. We are aware that the tour guides here at Harson's Cave do alter the script depending on the audience. In the case of children, they focus on features that would immediately hold a child's attention for the duration of the tour. The importance of having regular tours for children in Harson's Cave could never be overstated. At an early age, they will develop a greater love and appreciation for this natural wonder and no doubt the physical landscape, the hydrology and geology of the island. Now, what about special arrangements for children, groups and special promotions?
Well, usually during the summer, we are very popular with a lot of the summer camps. So we do anticipate that we will have a number of the summer camps coming through. And even before the school term ended, we had a number of school groups coming through, both from the nursery, primary, and even secondary schools. Especially after the 11 plus, we had a number of groups coming through. So we remain popular with school groups, even university students, because the university now has a number of visiting student programs, and a number of them come through as well. And not only just to see it as an attraction, but also from an educational perspective, because we are obviously a unique natural phenomenon for some of the students. So we do get a good set of school children as well.
Almost every attraction has an interpretation center where the story of the attraction is captured in photos and a brief description. Some are accompanied by a short AV presentation. The design here is very welcoming. As you enter the building, your eyes wander around the walls. The story of the cave could perhaps begin here in this area. And this could also be the point to honor the work of the pioneering men, Ole Sorensen, Tony Mason, Noel Boyce, and David Carrington, among others. It could also be the point to honor the 3 original tour guides who walked through the cave and named the formations and wrote the script. Andrew Waith, Pamela Helias, and Linda Christian Clark, who we met in an earlier program.
We are 7 years since the development of the project, and after 7 years, you need to refresh, and we, as a policy, we need to keep the product fresh and keep renewing things. So one of the things that we are looking at, and I would have done an initial walkthrough with somebody from the museum just as a thing, and I know you, Sherwood, would have also been here in terms of how we can refresh the interpretive center downstairs, for example, looking at the videos, how we can refresh those and bring more things, because we need to constantly change, because at the end of the day, persons might come here 2 or 3 times and they don't want to be seeing the same thing over and over, and as things evolve, as things develop, we need to be incorporating it. And then one of the other things, even upstairs here in the foyer, some of the displays are no longer relevant, so we need to look to see how we can change out some of those things. And certainly the suggestion of honoring some of the persons who would have been critical in terms of the development and stuff of Harson's Cave, we can look to use that area, for instance, to honor them and to tell the story of their role in terms of the discovery and the development of Harson's Cave. So those are some of the things that we'll look at as well. Again, everything is not going to happen within a year. We need to look at a 3-5 year plan, basically. That's some of the things that we do have on the radar in terms of refreshing some of the displays and the interpretive areas around as well.
Now, over the years, Barbadians have been calling for night tours of Harson's Cave, seemingly unaware of the fact that there is really no difference between a night tour and a day tour, as the cave is in total darkness, except when areas are illuminated by the tour guide so that you could enjoy the beautiful art out of nature.
People see it as a extra value-added thing, but we do it from time to time just with special events. Like we would have had one in November when we celebrated the anniversary, and which was so close to independence. We did a night tour event then, and that again, it was people loved it. And with more cruise ships also overnight in our home port in Barbados, it is something that we are looking at in terms of, obviously not on a daily schedule, but incorporating it into the schedule for the home porting vessels, as well as around some other events. It may not be year-round, maybe in certain seasons, but it is something that we certainly are looking at as well.
The signature tram tour continues to be very popular. However, the latest attraction, the Eco Tour, is also gaining in popularity. What about promoting this to more cruise ships and, of course, to locals alike?
The Eco Tour is something that, certainly since I have come on, I've taken a lot of interest in it. I did it as one of the first activities, and it was amazing. And anybody who does the Eco Tour basically come back with the same experience. And I think it's something that a lot of people are not aware of. Certainly a lot of Barbadians are not aware of. People are looking for different things to do. And the Eco Tour presents that opportunity. It's not for the faint-hearted, of course. It's not for everybody. It's for persons who are adventure-seeking, but there are a lot of those people. And I think that we have a huge potential in terms of increasing the popularity of that tour. Yes, we are limited in terms of numbers that we can take through, and we also want to be careful to strike the right balance, because we don't want to have I want to say the word overkill, because we need to be careful in terms of protecting the formations and the natural environment we're in. But we do have the potential to sell it a lot more. Right now, it is sold just with one cruise ship, so that's certainly one of the areas that we will be looking at in terms of when we speak to other cruise companies in terms of selling the Eco Tour to them, because it is something different to do when persons are on island, but certainly for locals to come and experience and to actually crawl through the cave. I don't know if you've actually done it, but it is a wonderful experience, and I think everybody who has done it, they come back with the same reaction in terms of the amazing experience. Our guides are phenomenal. We have 4 guides now that are doing the Eco Tour, and they certainly enjoy their job and they're passionate about what they're doing. You can see it in the way that they conduct the tour and interact with the guests, and it's certainly something that I would like to push a lot more, and for a lot more Barbadians to come and experience it as well. So.
You will get a preview of that Eco Tour in the next 2 episodes of this program. Now, a natural attraction site is built on customer relations. An attraction with excellent customer service is more likely to get repeat visitors. The attraction will benefit with greater sales and profit. The efforts that go into maintaining quality customer service can really pay dividends for the cave over time. The Chief Executive Officer sees this as an area that requires careful management and monitoring as they seek to increase their numbers here at Harson's Cave.
Generally, I would like to see the level of service improve as one area in terms of our interaction with guests and the whole customer service experience. I would like to see that improve for Harson's Cave. Obviously, to increase the number of visitors I believe back in 2004, 5, we would have seen numbers in excess or almost close to 200,000 annually. And for us to get back there is something that would be amazing in this time, and that's something that we would like to work towards. I don't know how soon we will get there, but in terms of increasing the traffic to Harrison's Cave again, there are a number of other things that we will need to put in place to make sure we can get the numbers through, as I would have mentioned earlier, but certainly to get the traffic through and to just basically build the product and to keep refreshing the product. To, as I said, one of the things that I am looking forward to getting in place and cementing in the food and beverage element, and I think that once that comes on board, it will open up a lot of avenues for the attraction. And again, for the community to become a critical part of what we do in terms of getting them more involved as well. So basically that's where I would like to see us going in the short to medium term, basically.
Chief Executive Officer of Harrison's Cave, Andrea Franklin, with a synopsis of the way forward for the cave. May the work of the early pioneers, Tony Mason, Ole Sorensen and others, and the work of Steve Devenish and his team who worked on the recent redevelopment, act as a reminder of the true potential of this, one of nature's wonders. We end this program in the words of former tour guide Linda Christian Clark and one of the pioneers who rediscovered a cave back in 1970 with Ole Sorensen, Tony Mason. It is clear that their special affinity for Harrison's Cave is unwavering.
One of the things I like about Harrison's Cave is how it tries to provide employment for the people who live within this region, within this community. And I think that's really important. And I'm really glad too that they're using Harrison's Cave for events, especially now they have so much parking at that end. I think it's really beautiful now, and I like how they've maintained the natural environment, all the trees and so on.
I'm proud to know that it is a tourist attraction to this country, and it is pleasing still. And this cave progress for years to come, because it had me feeling happy to see the work that we did to make this an accomplishment. And I hope that future youth and people would appreciate it the way it is, not going and break out formations and hire people that in doing the work, because it's like a kitchen garden, it must be maintained constantly to keep the beauty. Yeah, I thanks for the tour, Mr. McCaskey.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm glad you did come. Thanks a whole lot. Great. Well, I have made my purchase from the Stalactite gift shop. Thank you very much, Joanna. That brings us to the end of this program in the current series of Art Out of Nature, Harrison's Cave, Barbados. Until next week at the same time, I'm Sherwood McCaskey. It's goodbye for now. Bye.